Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Prem and Proper YouTube channel. And if this is your first time on our channel, I want to welcome you to the family. I hope you will subscribe so that you will become an official part of our family. In this video, I am going to show you how to make a staple Ghanaian dish, which is chicken stew. And we're going to have this with some rice. The ingredients you will need are some fresh tomatoes, some sweet bell peppers. You will need some red and white onions, some garlic, some ginger. I will be using curry powder, rosemary, some salt, tomato sauce, tomato paste, and I am using poultry seasoning that my cousin made for her new business, and I will have some of these for sale if you're interested. She also has some seasoning for killiwilly, some spice mix, and other spices that I'll be showing later on my channel. I'm also going to use some scotch bonnet pepper, some chicken flavored seasoning, my favorite shrimp and chicken Maggie. I also have some carrots for garnishing. To make my chicken stews, I prefer to use the hard chicken, which is basically an old hen that eats more natural stuff, so they live longer and they taste better too. And to clean my chicken, I use some salt in my water, and I also use some fresh lemon. To cook my chicken, I blend 1 large red onion. I use 1 scotch bonnet pepper. I add about 4 cloves of garlic and about a thumb of ginger. I also add a teaspoon of rosemary. I add my chicken flavored Maggie cube, and I blend everything with a little bit of water. I add about a teaspoon of salt on my chicken and pour all the ingredients that I just blended on my chicken to cook. I'm also now going to add a teaspoon of the poultry seasoning on my chicken. I'm also adding a teaspoon of curry powder on my chicken. I really love curry in my chicken, so I add a little bit of that to cook my chicken, and it's going to take at least 30 minutes to cook the chicken. So remember, this is the hard chicken, so you want to make sure that you cook it well so that it is not too hard, but also not to overcook it to make it soft, because the whole point is to use hard chicken. So I'm going to cook it for 30 to 40 minutes. I forgot to mention that I also use the chicken seasoning in my chicken. Next, I'm going to blend some more ingredients for my stew. I'm blending 2 large red onions. I'm going to add 2 scotch bonnet peppers, about 4 cloves of garlic, a thumb of ginger. I will add my shrimp flavored Maggie cube in here, and I will blend everything together with just a little bit of water. I'm going to check on my chicken now, and it's looking pretty good. I will let it cook for another 10 minutes or so, and you should cover your chicken to speed up the cooking process. I like a lot of onions in my stew, so I'm going to use 1.5 large white onion. I will slice 1 of the onions, and the half I will dice it into big chunks that I will put in my stew later when it's almost cooked. Next, I'm going to blend my fresh tomatoes together with my sweet red bell pepper. I do not deseed the tomatoes. I just cut them up, put them in my blender. I don't add any water because the tomatoes already has a lot of fluid in it, so you don't need to add any water before you blend. I've also already cut up my carrots and the other sweet bell pepper. You can cut up your carrots any way you like them, but preferably not too big. My chicken is looking really good now. I think it's all cooked, and so I'm going to take it out and place it in a strainer so that I can get as much fluid off the chicken as much as possible before I fry my chicken. You should probably let the chicken sit for about 5 minutes before you start frying it to avoid any accidents from getting any fluids into your hot oil. And make sure your oil is hot enough before you put your chicken in there. You don't want the chicken to soak up any oil. I'm pouring out the extra oil from the chicken that's now in my chicken stock out because this chicken stock is going into my stew and I don't want all that oil in my stew. Make sure you don't burn your chicken. You want to have a nice golden brown look on your chicken. So keep an eye out on your chicken. If you're doing other things while you're cooking, make sure you don't burn your chicken. And it should only take you about 15 minutes to fry your chicken if your oil is hot enough to start with. Remember, you've already pre-cooked your chicken, and so it's not like you're frying fresh chicken. You just want to have a little bit of crunchy taste to it in your stew. And see how good and golden my chicken looks, just perfectly fried. So while I'm still frying my second batch of chicken, I'm going to go ahead and start my stew. I wanted to have the chicken flavor in the oil for my stew, and that's why I'm using some of that oil for my stew. And since my oil is already hot, I don't need to wait for it to heat up before I add my onions. I'm going to let my onions fry for about 5 minutes so that it's caramelized. Next, I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of curry powder. Yes, I love curry powder. It makes my stew smell good, and also I love the flavor. Next, I'm going to put a few pieces of bay leaves with the onions. Sometimes I put my bay leaves and curry later on in my stew, like after I've added my tomatoes. And sometimes I do it this way. It really doesn't matter. Next, I'm going to add my blended onions, ginger, garlic, peppers, with my onions, and I'm going to let that also fry for about 5 minutes before I add in any tomatoes. Next, I'm going to put in my tomato paste, and if you've watched some of my previous videos, then you know that when I cook a lot of it because I don't have time to be cooking every few days. I make a lot of my food so that they last a little bit longer. And so I'm using about 28 ounces of tomato paste. That is 2 14-ounce cans. And I'm going to let it fry for about 10 minutes. So basically, I want to get a lot of the fluids out of the tomato paste. Inti me pese emuche, pese mi stew no tomato paste ne emuche kama. So I'll let that fry for about 10 minutes, and then I'll add my tomato sauce. I'm using the 16-ounce can, and I'm also going to add in the blended tomatoes with the sweet bell pepper that I blended earlier, so that they can all fry together. So I want my stew to be very well fried with not a lot of water in it. And you can see here that I started with a little bit of oil, but for your stew, you need a little bit more than what I started with. So I kind of add a little bit more as the process is going on. So when I see that I don't have enough oil on my stew, I will add a little bit oil to make sure that the stew is really frying well. I'm also going to go ahead and put in my chicken stock now so that everything can cook together and so that the stew really absorbs the stock and all the seasoning from the chicken stock. I'm also going to go ahead and put in my fried chicken. I want it to go in right away so that the chicken can also absorb the stew and the deliciousness from my stew. At this point, I just want to taste my stew to make sure that I have enough salt. I didn't really add salt directly into the stew, but because I cooked my meat with salt and because I used a lot of seasoning, I want to make sure that I need the salt before I put it in. I'm also going to go ahead and put in the rest of my onions and my carrots at this point. My stew is pretty much done, but because I want it to be very well fried, I'm gonna let it cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes to make sure I can get a lot of water out of it and to make it very stewy, if I should say. All right, guys, so there you have it, our delicious Ghana chicken stew with a Prem and Proper twist to it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you will try this recipe at home. I'm going to put in the description below all the ingredients I used in case I missed anything in this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think, how you like this stew. If you haven't already subscribed, yes, I am going to say it again. Please subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. If you need some help, ask us. We are going to have our stew with some rice. Ooh, and I can't wait to have this rice. It's going to be delicious. But thanks for watching, guys. We hope to see you back next time. Oh, guys, also, if you have any ideas of some videos you would like us to do, please leave us a comment and let us know. A few of you have already sent us some ideas of things we should do, and we're pretty excited. So, bye, guys. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.